Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining me here today for our September yin practice. And the energy of September to me this year says back to school, back to basics. So earlier in the month, I did a more upbeat routine about sort of my tried, tested, and true yoga practices for movement and energy. So this companion video will be my tried, tested, and true practice for relaxation, winding down, maybe for an afternoon break or before bed. Back to school, back to basics. These are the things that I just keep coming back to again and again when clients have requests or even for myself. And often when I take somebody else's class, they're my favorite techniques. Further proof that we don't need to reinvent the wheel to get great value. So what are we looking at here for our oils and tea? I'm going to give us two suggestions. If you are doing this as an afternoon break practice, I'm doing vanilla with a little bit of peppermint. And I actually have a couple of cedar balls in a candle holder in my bedroom and a few cedar balls, and I actually don't know what this, it's like a salt lamp, but no lamp. It was a gift. It's wonderful. It's the perfect size and shape to hold these cedar balls. I do a few drops of vanilla peppermint. I leave it on my desk in the afternoon, and I feel like it gives me that optimistic energy boost that I'm looking for. Probably my hands down favorite essential oil for the afternoon. Vanilla peppermint, you can buy it pre-made. It's called Candy Cane or Candy Cane Lane, something like that. So if you are doing this for evening, you might prefer as a wind down, just vanilla, no peppermint, because that takes that sort of pep out of it. My drink for today, I'm going lemon ginger, and I make this myself with dried ginger and lemon juice. Add hot water. You can do a bag of green tea. Again, if this is an afternoon practice for you and you're cool with caffeine in the afternoon, green tea or matcha powder is usually my favorite since I'm already putting in powdered ginger, and on my shelf it's right next to the powdered matcha. I mix them, add a little bit of lemon juice. It gives me that sort of pep in my step in the afternoon. Not too much caffeine at that time of day, and the lemon and the ginger are warming and energizing. If you were doing this before bed, you can get just a plain bag of lemon ginger tea. That's the easy peasy way to do this. You might like to add some honey for sweetness. That can often be soothing before bed. Maybe a bag of decaf green if you still want to get the benefits of green tea. So some variation of lemon ginger can be kind of cozy as we move into the cozy season. You may notice for yourself, you are going to be a little chilly during this practice. Feel free to layer up. We've made it through the hottest part of the year, and we are being, in my opinion, rewarded for our efforts with the best month of the year. Cool at night, warm during the day, so cozy up and enjoy it while it lasts before we move into the deep freeze. But let's focus on the present moment. Enjoy what we've got while we have it. We're going to start on our backs, and we're going to pretty much stay down for the count. If you would like to do this practice in bed, all the more power to you. Okay, let's begin. And I almost forgot, you may like a strap for this as well. We'll be doing some leg stretches lying on the back, so we can keep that handy. Okay, we're easing ourselves down onto our backs. And the name of the game, I think, for this set is the balance between comfort and sensation. Let's begin in hopefully just comfort, and then we'll add the sensation. So we'll start in constructive rest. Generally, constructive rest is done lying on the back. To be more peaceful and comfortable, we can knock the knees together and then place hands on belly. And let's count 10 rounds of breath here to focus our minds and kind of shake the Etch-a-Sketch in our minds clean. So we can inhale 10, exhale 10, inhale 9, exhale 9, and just keep going until we run out of time. If you get lost, you can start back again at 10, or simply focus on taking full deep breaths.
let's welcome some movement into the body. We may like to windshield wipe the knees side to side, bring knees to chest or a long stretch. We can come back to those movements at any time. So we'll be doing some longer hold stretches. And if at any point you find that I'm giving us too much time and that you want to come out of the stretch early, we can always rest back in our constructive rest or any of these kind of refresher poses where we just bring some movement into the body. Let's begin. We'll do what I call a basic leg series. Let's start with the right leg. So we're holding maybe the back of the right thigh as we extend the left leg, and let's have some support in the left leg by pressing down and engaging the muscles of the foot. So we're flexing the foot so it looks like we're standing on the floor. And if our fingers are particularly cranky today or any of this is uncomfortable, just holding the leg at all times wherever it's comfortable, which might actually mean holding the pant leg or not holding at all. If we would like our strap, we can use it, of course. And we'll begin with a straight leg hamstring or basic hamstring stretch, meaning that the leg goes straight overhead. So this can be a nice way to let our shoulders relax down to the mat instead of stretching and reaching towards the foot. And you probably notice that I have quite long arms. Compared to the length of my leg, you may feel that, your arms are like way down here and your foot is really far away. That's fine. We can always bend the leg, hold the back of the leg. It really doesn't matter. We're starting by lengthening the back line of the body. So as long as you feel some kind of sensation or stretch in the sole of the foot, heel, ankle, calf, down the back of the leg, maybe even into your glutes, then we're accomplishing that. So let's come back to sort of our theme for the day, the balance between comfort and sensation. So if we've got so much sensation that like the leg is shaking and you feel like you can't breathe, I would say that's too much. We're trying to have some wind down, mindful pause. I don't know how productive that much effort is going to be. We don't need to muscle our way into relaxation. So let's see if we can come into a point of more comfort where we can go and feel things release and loosen up a bit. We can leave our leg in our basic hamstring if we would like, or we can take it out to the side. And I rarely use a strap. So if I didn't have a strap here today, I would probably be using my arm to kind of kickstand under the right leg and hold the upper thigh. And the left arm can come out to counterbalance the weight of the leg going out to the side. Generally, we start with the leg bent in kind of a half happy baby. And then as the inner thigh and hamstring releases, we can straighten out. You may prefer to move back and forth or just hold still. And if you are quite bendy, traditionally this pose is done by taking our peace fingers and holding the toe, pressing fingers into toe, toe into fingers. And that is more of an athletic variation. So again, that might be too much sensation, too aggressive. We may prefer to be more relaxed. And if we did have the strap, nothing really changes with the strap. We're simply just taking the leg out to the side. We'll make our way into a twist. Some of us may like to hold on to the strap for the twist. I prefer to drop the right foot so that I can shift my body weight to the outside of the hip. So I'm on the left side of the pelvis, and then bring a bent leg across. And again, that balance between comfort and sensation. For most of us, this will be a lot more comfort and a lot less sensation. We may be really tight through the torso in the twist, so we might feel that our breathing is kind of short and restricted. Let's see if we can hold on through that process to let our bodies relax and settle in until we can breathe more fully. If it does feel really tight, then we may need to back off a bit from the stretch. We could stack the legs instead or be in more of a windshield wipe stance with the legs. And then as we feel our bodies loosen up and ease into it. Then we can go deeper if we like. We'll make our way back through center, pausing for a moment, centered on our mats, just to check in, see how we feel. It's interesting to notice the right side to the left side. We have some shift or change in feeling on one side since we only stretched one side. Seeing if you can sense that in the body. And then we're ready to switch. So we can lengthen out the right leg, draw the left leg in for knee to chest. For added stability, we're pressing down through the right leg and we can flex the right foot. You can stay where you are. I'm going to flip around. It's just a little bit easier to record, but please do stay exactly as you are. And we'll move into our basic hamstring stretch. So if we love the strap, under the bottom of the foot, leg can be bent or straight, easing into the hamstring stretch. And maybe we do feel quite tight. Keep in mind, let's be realistic about whatever you've been up to lately. It's summer, maybe you've been doing a lot of walking. That'll really tighten up the hamstrings. And that if you are the type of person that's accustomed to just muscling your way through things or forcing things, and you might have that impulse to really push into it, it's tricky because we might actually accomplish more by doing less. Especially if you're winding down for sleep. We don't want to be highly activated before sleep, right? So as much as we have this desire to be flexible, that happens through releasing, not through forcing. So let's see how patient we can be with this process. It often becomes more apparent as we take it out to the side. So we could kickstand under the leg, we could hold the back of the thigh, we could hold our pant leg, whatever we like. If we have the strap, we simply take the strap out to the side. Maybe our arm comes over to counterbalance. We may feel that desire to really and push the leg out straight. Let's see, maybe we accomplish more by backing off, allowing everything to just loosen up on its own. This is the stretch response. We come into it and we're tight. 30 seconds later, the body realizes we're safe and the muscles give in. It goes without saying, one side may be quite different from the other. If we're getting curious about that, we're open to it, totally fine. Let's see if we can release the urge to judge or overanalyze, micromanage, figure out what's going on. Simply letting it be. So if we like the straight leg, bring it across. If like me, prefer the bent leg, then we can always take the foot down, shift onto the side of the hip, and let the knee come across. This can be quite a tight one. Again, let's be realistic. If you don't do a lot of rotation, it's going to be tight. Runners are often really tight through here. It tightens things up to be, powering through the upper body in that running movement, to be doing a lot of cardiovascular heavy breathing over a sustained period of time can tighten this up. So maybe there's somewhere in your life that you have been running, literally, or sort of metaphorically, have you been tensing, quick shallow breathing? That'll tighten this up. How do we loosen it up? Let's see if we can be patient. We'll remind our bodies that we're safe. Everything is fine. You are in control. See if we can let our breathing lengthen out on the inhale and the exhale. If we feel really tight, we can back off a bit. And as we feel the body ease into it, come in a little more deeply. All right, we'll come back through center. I'm going to flip around again. You can stay exactly as you are, but let's take a moment to reset and settle back into our constructive rest. And we'll check back in again, noticing how we're feeling, right side of the body to the left side of the body. And then let's check in with the front of the body. We've been doing work to stretch the back of the body. We're going to move into work to stretch the front of the body. So let's take our arms alongside. And we'll come through a bridge flow here. So we'll spread our toes, press the weight of our body evenly into the heel, the outside of the foot, and the inside of the foot, and then we'll lift and lower. Inhaling, coming up into bridge, making a nice straight line from knees to collarbones, and then lowering down almost all the way. That's our flow. So this can be a great one for the low back because we are strengthening our glute muscles that help support the low back. Maybe we're feeling stretch through the front of the hips. Noticing how the front of the body feels. If we've been slouching a lot or doing some weird kind of body movements, it can get quite tight. Or again, if you've been doing a lot of exercise, that'll tighten it up too. Isn't it ironic? Doing a lot of movement or doing very little movement can leave us quite tight. Okay, we're gonna flip over on our stomachs. Flip however it makes sense for you. We won't be doing anything too complicated, so you can probably just flip-flop wherever you are. And we're coming to lie on our stomachs. Now I'll show us smallest range of motion to largest. Probably our smallest range of motion is if we do what my sister calls salamander pose, arms alongside of the body and resting down on one cheek. We can switch which direction we're looking at any time to keep the neck comfortable. For some of my clients, this is a big stretch through the front of the body. Now, we may be wanting more. We can bring the arms up, dropping the forehead onto the back of the hands in sleeping crocodile. I know overhead range of motion isn't for everyone, so maybe the arms are alongside the body or under the shoulders in a variation of cobra. And then some of us may be happy up much higher. And this is one of those poses that if I do it in a group class setting and look around the room, the variation in range of motion from one person to the next is huge. So some people will be lying on their stomach and that feels like a deep stretch. Some people will be right up to the top. And then most of us are somewhere in the middle. So feel it out for yourself. We won't be here too long, but let's see if we feel the urge to move. Maybe looking over one shoulder at a time. Other movements of maybe our shoulders or bending our legs, circling the ankles. Seeing if we have that urge to wiggle or move to make this more comfortable. Let's go with it. And then when we're ready to rest our backs, we'll windshield wipe the legs here lying on our stomachs. So we can all rest the head down or maybe the cheek down and then windshield wipe the legs side to side. And let's feel it out. If you feel that you really want to push back into child's or do a little cat and cow to limber up the low back, we can do that. Or we may be more comfortable simply flip-flopping onto our backs again and coming into knees to chest. So yogi's choice. Everybody's back is different, like I said. Feel it out, whatever we need here. Go ahead and take it. And we'll keep working on stretching the front of the body. Let's pause for a moment here in supine butterfly. So from our constructive rest, letting the knees butterfly open, and we may like to take hands to belly. Feeling and noticing the width from hip bone to hip bone. Letting our inhale drop deep down, feeling that movement even down into our low belly. All right, if anybody is still doing cat and cow or child's, come on back and join us here lying on our backs. We can put our legs in any position. We're going to work on the upper body. One of these poses I keep coming back to for almost everybody, including myself, supine cactus. So we move our arms kind of like we're showing our muscles, elbows at 90 degrees, back of the hands on the floor. And when I look around the room, I see a lot of variations of this, and starting with probably body awareness. So we can turn the head and see what's going on with our arms, because often we think they're open and they're actually quite tight. So our elbows are at the same level as our shoulder. They're not super close to the rib and they're not up overhead. And once we get our elbows to that point, we may actually prefer to be out in a T position instead of cactus arms. Some people, the forearms are just hanging off the floor. That might feel really good, that we have our body weight kind of pulling our arms into the position. And if you like that one, go for it. I will leave that up to you. It can be one of those poses that there's a lot of tension while we're in it, or resistance while we're in it. It starts to loosen up, and then after we come out of it, it feels fantastic. But of course, if we have any pain, we can release the arms anywhere else they feel comfortable. But as long as they're out on the floor, anywhere in this range of motion, we're getting length through the front of the shoulders, the chest. And let's see what happens when we breathe here. If we take a really full breath into the rib cage. Again, you might get that feeling of like tight, short breath, lots of resistance. Let's see if we can hold on, stick with it. Keep breathing, let the body settle in and release. So we have our muscles that we think of as like our gym muscles, front of the shoulder, chest muscles, maybe feeling it in our bicep. These muscles have to release. So we may be keenly aware of that. But then as we're here, other muscles have to relax to have our arms flush with the floor and our bodies in a more relaxed state. Muscles more involved in breathing, so the muscles between each rib bone, muscles of the neck that attach to our ribs and our collarbones. So let's see if we can train our senses to be aware of our big gym muscles loosening up. You know, muscles that we were working carrying our groceries or whatever else it is you do during the day. But then if we can also be aware of these subtle movements of our muscles that happen when we're breathing. So full inhale. Our respiratory muscles have to work. And then we can feel them hopefully release with our exhale. We may need to move quite slowly as we come out of this. We've got just one more while we're here. And we'll come into banana pose. Another one that I keep coming back to, but I keep coming back to it in terms of the lower body, not always in terms of the arms. So traditionally this pose has us with our arms overhead. And I know lots of us out there in the world have a history of injury or surgery, something in and around the shoulder. So it's not always possible. So I'll work us up to it. You pick what you like. Let's start with our legs. So let's stretch the right side of the body first, which means we're walking our legs over to the left side of the mat. Our left leg is going to go on top of our right leg. So the outside leg goes on top of the inside leg just to keep it in place. Otherwise it might sort of start to flop back. So we are just going to prevent that. So we take the left on top of the right to hold it in place. Traditionally we do the same with our upper body. The left holds the right overhead. So you can see we're making a letter C shape with our bodies. This is banana pose. That's where it gets its name, sort of that rounded banana shape. Okay, if you're happy here, you love it here, fantastic, stick around. Otherwise, what are some other things that I see? Bending the elbows, holding the elbows instead of straight arms. One hand, in this case usually the left, if we're stretching the right side, the left hand under the head, so it's not tipping quite so far back. Maybe both arms bent towards, like thumbs towards shoulder. We can turn the head, nose pointing towards the left shoulder. And of course the arms could always be down alongside the body. Let's hang out here another minute. Breathing, knowing that we can come out of the pose early if it feels like a bit too much. Bring our awareness to wherever you feel this stretch the most. What do you feel is particularly tight? Getting a lot of work? Let's take one more breath, see if we can loosen that up on our exhale, release in a bit more. And then we're ready for the other side. So we might want to move quite slowly as we come back through center. We'll be stretching our left side. So let's take the feet to the right side of the mat. To pin our left leg in place, we take right over left. Moving our bodies into a C shape, we know we can leave the arms out of it. Maybe we're bringing our hands up behind the head, beside the head, into cactus, something like that. Maybe one hand behind the head, one arm overhead. Holding onto elbows. If we're feeling that we're doing the overhead range of motion today, our right hand grabs our left wrist so that the left arm can relax, and the right hand is doing a little bit of work to hold us here. Maybe we feel tight. Let's see if we need to back off, come out of the pose a little bit. Or maybe elongating our exhale will help us to feel looser. One more time, let's make ourselves come back through to center. Ooh. Might need to move slowly. We can pause in constructive rest, checking in again, or we may really feel the need to get moving, loosen up, fidget, whatever that might be. And then we're going to finish with a body scan and breath awareness. We can do our traditional Shavasana here on our backs, or I'll give you a couple of other options. Now, just the same as we started, if you are doing this in the afternoon versus the evening, we'll be lying down on a different side. To help us fall asleep at night, it is helpful to have the left nostril on top. And having the left nostril on top means that that becomes our dominant nostril. You know how when you lie down on one side, you can feel your nostrils switch? This is said to get us into sleep deeper and faster. So if we lie down on the right side, left nostril on top, that helps us to fall asleep. Now, if it is the middle of the afternoon for you and you have just eaten lunch and you want help digesting, that means we're doing left side digesting pose. So you lie down with your left side down and the right nostril on top, and that helps your lunch move along. I'm going to stay sitting up so that I can guide you through a meditation. If you would like to sit up, feel free. Comfort and sensation, that's the name of the game. If you would like to come into a more upright, alert sensation, feel free to do so. If we're getting ready for sleep, we're lying down with the left nostril on top. If we're getting ready to digest, we're lying down with the right nostril on top. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to put these in the show notes as well so you can see below in case you get confused. When we're ready, option to close our eyes here. And let's bring our awareness to our bodies and the physical sensation of the body. Let's go from the outside in, noticing the temperature in the room, the feeling of the air on your skin, your clothes on your skin, and the feeling of pressure as you're resting down onto whatever surface you're on, the mat or the bed, the floor. Sending our awareness deeper, noticing the sensation of muscle, bones, joints, seeing if we can go right to the core, noticing feeling of breath, heartbeat, digestion. Moving our awareness to the soles of the feet, noticing any physical sensations there. And if at any point we're not aware of physical sensation, simply saying to ourselves, noticing, or awareness, or maybe saying sensation. Moving our awareness of physical sensations through the ankle, lower leg, knee, upper leg, and the entire lower body. Bringing awareness up through the pelvis, the trunk of the body, rib cage, shoulders, down the length of each arm to the fingertips. To the neck, head, ears, jaw, face.
in our mind's eye, let's picture ourselves at the beach. It is the perfect day at the beach. You decide what type of weather, maybe scorching hot, not a cloud in the sky, maybe warm and overcast. It's your beach, whatever you like. Picturing the shoreline, gazing out across the water. Now let's notice the waves as they're lapping at the shore or crashing at the shore. And as we watch these waves come and go, let's move our breath in the rhythm of the waves. Inhaling, drawing the waves closer. And exhaling, letting the waves go back out to sea. Maybe with our inhale, we feel as though we are pulling the waves towards us. And exhaling, releasing, letting them go. Staying here, breathing in time with the waves. Bringing this sense of fluidity and flow into ourselves and our breath. Feel free to stay here as long as you like, breathing in time with the waves. From my light to yours, namaste.